beautiful people? Welcome back to the S5E5 Reviews channel. Happy Sunday if you are watching when this video premieres. We are here to go over Raising Kanan. This is season 5, episode 5 of the final season. It was titled School of War. I was so pleased with this episode because I feel like the beating and the whooping that Tariq needed on Power and that Kanan has been needing on this Power Book 3 was given for both of them to Kanan. So I am extremely happy with this episode. I'm not going to lie. I also feel like this was a really, really good episode, though every episode of Raising Kanan is incredible. Shout out to everybody working in the background of the show because they're doing a great job to bring the show to life, actors included. But this was a really, really good episode. I hope that you guys consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Welcome to all of our new subscribers, and thank you to all of those who have been watching these reviews. I am a smaller YouTuber, extremely small, and I am newly monetized, so I really appreciate the support and just want to shout y'all up and out. Absolutely. Let's get into this episode, though. Marvin and Rock are discussing Stefano because we last left off with the bloody hat being left. He's sending a message. Shout out to Kevin Reynolds. He was like, he's sending a message. You're going to be sleeping with the fishes if need be. That is absolutely the case. And, you know, it's a threat. Rock figures that they're making so much money for Pino, who is above Stefano in terms of like the crime boss rankings. She figures they're making so much money for him that she's valuable. They're valuable. He's going to protect them. All they got to do is just deny that they took a shot at Stefano. Now, to an extent, Rock is correct, but I also feel like Rock is paying attention to just fixing problems, like with temporary fixes versus actually doing like permanent fixes, because we all know that the true problem is Kanan. He's Kanan, even down to Breeze. Everything come back to Kanan in some way. Now, she's telling Marvin she just want to see what happens and wants to wait. Marvin wants the smoke, but he is listening to his sister and they're going to wait. Now, in another scene, Kanan is meeting with Stefano, and Stefano tells him that his mother tried to unalive him. And because of that, you know, Stefano is questioning Kanan because he's like, that's your mama, regardless of what. Usually people stick beside blood before they stick beside me. And Kanan is looking like, I don't know why that's hard for you to believe. And Stefano lets him know, like, I'm going to have to take a shot at your mom. And Kanan's like, do what you got to do. And I'm looking like, this is exactly why parents like Joe Jackson went and got that switch up off the tree and got people whoosh, in the act of acting right. Because ain't no way you just okay with somebody doing this to your mom. And we have to remember that Kanan is mad at Rock for some stuff that he doesn't even fully understand. He's mad at her about some incorrect information, which to me just makes it like 10 times worse. And he doesn't seem likely to hear what other people have to say to understand he's made a mistake. But it is what it is. Now, meanwhile, Jukebox is being threatened by the cop that she was working with. And I'm looking at Jukebox and I'm like, you should have never worked with this cop in the first place. Like, you should have never worked with him. You have not been in the streets. You're not doing what Kanan's doing. You think you know, but you don't. And he wants the money from her. So I think Juke is going to find a way to get that money. Rock is meeting with Pino. And Pino knows that she sent people to, you know, go after Stefano. But Rock is not going to admit that she, you know, has done this to him. He just smiles and tells her that she has big cojones, because she do. We can't lie. Rock is doing it big. But honestly, women have to be harder at everything that's male dominated. Is just a fact. So I'm not mad at her, but I do feel like Rock is getting sloppy because family is involved. They just are. Now, while all of this is happening, Jukebox is at home. She's making a little sandwich after being threatened. And Marvin walks in and he asks, like, what's been going on with Kanan? What has he been up to? And she lets her dad know that she don't know much about Kanan. And then she moves into how she's struggling to pay this cop. She doesn't know what she's going to do. And she lets her dad know that because she got to figure this out on her own, she want to start moving work and getting into the family business. Now, her reason is she said everybody in this family is paid but me, which is true. But you had a way out. You don't have to be here. People really have to learn how to love our families from a distance, because she was away in military camp. You could have been a part of the army and thrived. You could have went to school. You could have sang in your group. Like, Juke has so many things she can fall back on. The fact that she feels this interrupted loyalty towards her family is baffling when the family, honestly, Juke be the last that the family be thinking about a lot of the time. They move how they move. I get that they have to keep her character incorporated, but I'm just like, come on, Juke. But she want to move weight. Marvin's going to let her. He has fear. And he tells her, you think you know what you're doing and you think you know what this come with, but you have no clue. You have no clue. And I actually agreed with Marvin because Juke be thinking she knows stuff and she just doesn't. She doesn't know. She has no idea. She has no idea. But we will see. We will see. We will see. We will see. Now, Kanan is doing the drop, right? Because now we have no more Taz because Kanan and Breeze took care of Taz. And so Kanan is taking over as second in line to Breeze for Taz. And he's going and doing the drops. Now, Big Boy, we're going to call him Big Boy. He didn't understand why Kanan was there and didn't recognize him. And Kanan's like, I'm here for Breeze. He's like, nah, where Taz? Where Taz? I don't care and think you work for Breeze unless I hear it from Breeze himself. I said, now why would you do that knowing that Breeze ain't wrapped, right? So Kanan calls Breeze on his big old cell phone, which they were bigger back then, but okay, y'all did what you had to do. And Breeze comes by, tells him you should have just believed what he said. They jumped him. So maybe the dude to learn a lesson. Kanan and Breeze out here just running amok, though. They are actual menaces running amok. Now, we then get to see that Rock goes and meets with the Hispanic Poppies, a.k.a. Joaquin and his crew. And shout out to Q1JTV. When we had covered Beauty and Black last season together, she kept referring to one of the cops as Hispanic Poppy or something, one of the tricks. I can't remember who it was, but shout out to Q1, because now anytime I see somebody like that, I'm saying that on one of these shows, okay? Because he was a gentleman and he was working. But Rock meets with Joaquin, and Joaquin tells Rock, he's like, I kind of feel like you have a lot of drama coming at you, and it's because you don't respect boundaries. And Joaquin was like, part of how he's become so successful in the life is respecting the boundaries of other leaders, other crime bosses. And he tells Rock her problem is she don't have no boundaries. I actually agree with that. It's good to be gritty. It's good to be militant, but you also have to have your limits, your lines, your boundaries, all those good things. Now, Marvin meets with a little girl who he's been, supporting and all of that. The police don't believe her about who, shot up her family, but she's trying to stay true to the truth. But I felt bad because she was like, I don't want to have to move families. They're threatening me now, Uncle Marvin. And he's like, just hold on to it. But I wish Marvin would do something, because that is messed up that this innocent child is wrapped up in all of this. Super messed up. But then again, how can a child this young in the system get away from the family she's staying with without nobody noticing to go have ice cream with a big, tall black man? Like, where is this child's supervision? But I digress. Pino goes to meet with Stefano because they know each other. And they have a talk about Rock. And Pino pretty much explains that Rock came to him and said that she doesn't know anything about the people that tried to unalive Stefano. And Stefano's like, come on, you really believe that? And, Pino challenges that and is like, well, you're telling us that these guys said that it was Rock, but you unalived all of them. So how are we to prove it? And then Pino says that Rock is a tenant and he's a landlord. He don't work with her. She's an independent contractor renting from him. And he said that she pays her rent well in full and on time, consistently. And anybody who comes for his tenants comes for him. He told Stefano to let the beef with Rock go, or that them two was going to have beef. So Rock was right. She was right. But I know Stefano is getting sick and tired of people that's supposed to be on his side that he has a relationship with, ignoring their good relationship to side with Rock. But money talks. It really does talk, because he said, F loyalty. I don't care about our history. She's making me a lot of money right now. And anything you do to play with that is a problem. Lord. Rock was smart to align with Pino. She was actually very smart to do that, for the reason that Stefano technically can't do nothing, but we know he ain't gonna listen. Now, while all of this is happening, Kanan and Breeze is out to eat at a diner. Like, they didn't just tear somebody up over a mishap and them being safe. And this is where Breeze mentions Rock is the one who unalived Defcom, who was Kanan's dad. And it turns out that Breeze has uncles that were very close to DEFCON, and the hood knows that Rock is the one that probably offed him. And Breeze makes it very clear that Rock has never answered for the death of DEFCON. And Breeze says that she needs to go down for that. And it looks like Kanan's okay with it. I'm like, Kanan, don't you want to be 170% sure that your mother is your enemy before you come after her and work with her ops like this? Like, streets or not, be matter of fact. That's why all these people who break the law end up in jail, because they're not the smartest. And reasons like this, because we know Kanan's character ended up in jail, and now I can see why. Now I can see why. Now, Jukebox meets with one of her old friends. For those who watch Raising Kanan earlier seasons, Jukebox used to have this group of friends, and they would like go into the big stores and Times Square, New York, and all of that, and they would do the boosting, steal something. Boosting is where y'all at, stuff it in y'all bags. That was literally Jukebox. She was Young Miami, spin that. But Juke is going to be working and moving weight, so she tells her friend, she's like, I want to give y'all some work. I want to get the old crew back together. I know for some people, they're like, ooh, good for Juke. I think this is dumb. I think this is dumb. The reason I think this is dumb is because your old crew was boosted. Okay? Boosting and scamming. Selling dope is different. Moving work is different. She talking about it's just for delivery. People need to know what they're delivering. You know, they need to know, because if they don't, they're going to snitch. They're going to snitch on you tough. So make sure they know what they're doing. But we will put a pin on that. That's just something they introduced in this episode. We then see Marvin go and meet with Flossie. And Flossie is still feeling things are risky because Kanan infiltrated her through Jarita, aka Tiana, who's one of the hoes. And one of their top clients, who was a federal judge, ended up overdosing. And, you know, Flossie is still a little paranoid about getting back out there. So she's working through that, which is understandable. Now, she tells Marvin, because Marvin's like, how'd your daughter pass? Because Marvin's real interested in God and, you know, the synagogues and things like that. And she lets Marvin know that she'll let him come with her to a bar mitzvah that's going to be happening at the synagogue. But she, you know, she also expresses that her daughter passed away in a car crash. So Flossie's daughter was in the car with a boy who is the son of someone wealthy and powerful. They decided to go take a drive to the store while the boy was not sober. They got into a really bad car wreck. He drove into a big truck head on. Flossie's daughter passed away, and the boy walked away with just a bruise. And then he didn't do time. He got away with probation. Now, most people who get in a situation like that are going to go down for manslaughter, involuntary or voluntary. Some would go down for more. Reckless driving. There's so much he could have gotten in trouble for, but because of who his parents were, he got off with just probation. So Flossie said she made sure it was taken care of on her own. She said he got pushed in front, or he fell in front of a 3-car train. And Marvin made the point, the subway's pretty big. It is pretty hard to just be pushed. And a 3-car train is only running at night when there ain't many people on the subway. Okay, so it sounded like what Flossie has said to Marvin earlier on, if we're going to unalive people, we need to make sure it's worth it. We need to make sure it's smart, and we need to make sure it makes sense. Maybe this is why she said that. But I was happy to learn some more about Flossie. I'm not surprised at the give back that she may have got for her daughter, and I'm not mad at it. I actually like Flossie because she stands on business, but she also finds a way to treat people with respect, and she understands that there's a limit and a line. She understands it. Now, after all of this, we get to see Kanan go meet with the dudes who Taz originally beat up, because Taz was in his feelings because they were like, we heard you got passed up as second in line for the new guy. Now these guys get to see Kanan, and they just happy Taz is gone. I thought that was funny as hell. They are just happy they don't got to deal with Taz no more. But Breeze ended up meeting with Stefano while Kanan was doing this. And Stefano was talking to Breeze about Rock. He explained she's a cancer, and he wants to hit up her operation. He explains that he can't go full front for her because Pino says don't interrupt things. But basically, Stefano's idea is he wants to go for her supply and make it to where she can't make money. And if she can't make money, she's not valuable to Pino. Pino will let her go, and then Stefano can have at her. But by you messing with the money, you're also disobeying Pino. So I don't think Stefano is thinking. I think shit's got real personal for Stefano. And the worst thing that can happen, especially for men in power, is when they get emotional, because he's not letting it go and he's not thinking. He's not thinking at all. I feel like Stefano is ignoring the advice of everybody and ignoring the power that Rock has, you know? And I don't know how it's going to end for Stefano either after this. And Breeze asked Stefano, like, what Rock got to do with our business? She's not in Queens. She's not playing with our money. She's not interrupting Breeze's money. So why should I care? And Stefano just looked at him. It's like, it's personal and I want her life. I mean, Breeze wants her life too, but I'm curious if Breeze is going to want it on his own terms or if he's going to let Stefano do what he do and, use him as a vessel to work through. Like, I'm very curious on where they're going to go from that. Let me know how you guys think it will go, because I have not a clue. Now, Kanan's still laid up with this hoe. We gonna let them be. They laid up. Him and Jarita. For those who do not know, Jarita is the name of Tiana. That's her actual name, not her whole name. And Jarita is the lady who does eventually become the baby mama of Kanan's only son, who we did see was unalived on Power Book 1. So this should be interesting. I believe he was unalived too because he was sleeping with Tasha. Tariq's mom, I believe that was her name. But we will see what more happens. It looks like she's falling for him a little bit though. And I'm like, only a young boy like Kanan will be just sleeping with this hoe frivolously. And I was laughing when she was like, I'm out here giving freebies. So now you're a bad hoe, because why are we giving freebies? If I'm a hoe, I'm about my money. But okay. Now, Juke, Marvin, and the cop, they all meet up, and Marvin lets him know that she's going to help her because she's a kid and she don't fully know what she's doing. And, she asks the cop about Famous. Juke's whole reason for talking to this cop is wanting to get information on Famous and what really happened with his death, which is what Kanan should be doing. But of course, Kanan ain't going to do that because Kanan is selfish. He don't care about fame. He don't care about his mom. He doesn't care about his uncle. He doesn't care about anybody. He's been desensitized. But at least Juke is trying to get to the bottom of it. And, the cop is like, I'm going to find out what I can. And Juke kind of looks at her dad and is like, if he don't give me the information, he going to risk he did. I said, oh, okay, not you turning gutta, Miss Jukebox. Now you somebody when you couldn't even get this money without your daddy's help. Please, Juke, please. Now, Pino meets with Rock and updates Rock on all that is known. He lets Rock know that Stefano is probably going to be coming for his spot and that he is mad enough at Rock that he's probably going to disobey him and come for her. And Pino asks Rock about Kanan because he's like, your son is working for your op. This is weird. It doesn't make no type of sense. And it's a concern. Seems your son's out of control and you got a parent. And Rock kept trying to make it seem like it was nothing. And Pino warned her, if your son's working with Stefano and he's this angry against you, your son may be this angry against you too. And you need to be a parent and discipline him. He made the example of like, psychologists say kids go through these phases, but you don't have a regular kid. He's in the streets, he's a hustler, and he's about it. You need to handle this boy and discipline him. Basically, that was the colorless, melanin redacted crime boss's way of telling this woman, whoop his ass. Why have you not done anything? I've been wanting to whoop Kanan's ass, and he's not even a real person. I don't understand why Rock is letting them get away with it. And I know Rock is militant, but this is a show of weakness because the way that Kanan is moving, be the big dog that you are, Raquel. Get his ass in order or let your brother do it as he does at the end of this episode. Please, girl, please. But hopefully she listens to Pino. I was glad because Pino actually gives really good advice and you can see why he is who he is. Okay. He understands why Breeze is moving the way he's breathing. He understands Stefano, the Kanan. He understands what's what. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, we see that after that happens, Stefano meets with Flossie. And I'm like, oh my God, he knows Flossie. But I'm not surprised because it does make sense for all of the crime bosses to know each other. Flossie is the daughter of a crime boss who was very close to Stefano. She met with him out of respect. Stefano tries to convince her to not work with Raquel. And Flossie said, I'm not going to allow anybody to make decisions on my organization or about my work. You know that. And he does know that. And he accepts it. But I'm hoping that Flossie warns Kanan, or not Kanan. I'm hoping that Flossie warns Raquel and Marvin and all of that. Now, Jarita Kanan's whole ass baby mama, who talked too much, is going to work for a trick, but she jumps out of it. She says she can't do it. Left out of there, left the money and everything. Flossie ended up talking to Jarita about it and told her, I don't care what's wrong with your mind. You're here to sell ass. Don't do that again. And I'm wondering if Jarita, because we see her slowly like falling for Kanan, I'm wondering if she's going to like expect for him to cover her since he taking care of stuff and it's like, I'm going to take you out. Maybe she's really falling for it, which is a little weird. How are you a hoe falling for a kid? I don't understand it, but Jarita was told by Flossie. Flossie said, listen, I'm respectful to you hoes, but you doing a job and your job is to sell ass. So don't be talking about you can't sell ass because your head, you got a lot on your mind. If you don't think about that stuff on your mind while that man is pumping and stroking and doing what he got to do, it don't got nothing to do. She says, separate the two. And that's why if you do decide to hoe, maybe don't have a madam or a pimp, okay? Because they going to control everything you say and do. They are going to absolutely control it. Now, while all of this is happening, Jarita was put in her place. Kanan goes by Breeze, and Breeze didn't tell him nothing. He handed him a gun and was like, let's go. He didn't say what they doing, where they going. Kanan drove the car, and they are going to get at one of Rock's people. Unfortunately, the person they're going after is Joaquin and the Hispanic Poppy crew. Breeze offs and unalives Joaquin and then runs in the car. The people was coming after him. He was laughing. He really just enjoys the chaos, and Kanan was driving away. You deep in it now, Kanan. No going back. You drove the getaway car to some stuff. This low-key reminds me of Styles' dad in Nemesis, which is a Netflix show, because his dad drove the getaway car to some stuff that turned into some mess, but didn't actually do no mess and wasn't fully aware of what was going on. I was like, Lord help us. Be careful who you drive for. That's all I'm going to say. Make sure it's a rental and not your actual vehicle. Now, Rock is with Marvin because Rock had told Marvin, you need to pull one of Kanan guys up off the street because she's taking Pino's advice. And she said, we need to whoop that nigga until they tell us something about Kanan's operation. But the dude they pulled off the street didn't know nothing. Marvin was like, I don't want to keep hitting this kid because Marvin got a heart. He's like, these is Kanan's little friends from Little League and shit. We can't just be doing this. Is he that bad? Marvin frustrated Rock to points where Rock shot the boy. I think his name was Prima or something, but she shot Kanan's friend off the scooter. And Kanan's aware that his guy was pulled up off the scooter with product and stuff. And Marvin is like, what the hell is wrong with you? And Rock says, he killed our brother, nigga. I said, oh, Lord. Like, you wouldn't think that she was talking about her own son. Also, shout out to Mr. Osobes again. Stream his music as thank you, because he pointed out the fact that Rock, this is all happening with Kanan and stuff. But at the same time, Rock did not tell the full story of the fact that Kanan did not mean to shoot Lou. He doesn't care and showed no remorse and probably would have done it. She hasn't told him that he was there to shoot her. Like, there's more to the story that I feel like is relevant for someone like Marvin to know, but he doesn't know that. So after he finds out that Kanan was the one who unalived Lou, Marvin goes by Kanan's house, knocks on the door, which was a sign like, nigga, we been knew where you stayed and gave you grace because you was blood, but this is what you do, and whooped Kanan's ass something vicious. He was going to pull a gun on him, but Jukebox stopped him. And I said, this is the moment that really turned Kanan hard, because Kanan going to act like he's not wrong and act like a victim and like, oh, my uncle don't care about me. But Marvin ain't done nothing to you. You've been disrespectful to Marvin. You was disrespectful to Lou. And your problem was actually with your mama. But you just be disrespectful to people. Part of being a good criminal, person, boss, a human, if you got a problem with someone, have that problem with that someone. Not them and all their crew, which is crazy. Especially if it relates to family. Streets or not. So Kanan got his ass whooped and was left crying in his apartment, bloodied up. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with him. But let me know if y'all was happy to see Kanan get whooped on, because I think he deserved it. Because Kanan, at this point, we have to think of how Raising Kanan season 1 opened, with somebody bullying him and Rock having to put the rocks in the sock and take Kanan up to the school to whoop on a little boy. Like, Kanan's a shooter, but he ain't been a fighter, you know? And I'll never respect a gangster that shoots before he can put his fist up. But he got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped, and I'm not mad at it. now, at least going forward, because we know Kanan's going to continue with his shenanigans, at least now you got the ass whooping to be that. We'll call it your jump into the foolery. But that is where that episode ended, you guys. I did enjoy the episode. I thought they did a really good job at it. Let me know how you guys felt about the episode, how you would rate it. Also, let me know if there's any other shows that you're interested in. I will be covering 50 Cent's new show that is also on STARZ called Fightland. It does premiere on July the 31st. I always try to do things the day or two after they air so that we can all be caught up and I'm not giving away too many spoilers. But love and light to everybody. I hope y'all like the video on your way in and out. I'll see y'all the next time. Au revoir.